setting heaven. 4 former presidents are sitting on fluffy chairs, resting their feet on puffs of clouds. They have been watching the affairs of the United States through a special heavenly television hookup, and they are discussing what they see. President George Washington, Richard. President Abraham Lincoln, Joyce. President Theodore Roosevelt, Gloria. President John F. Kennedy, Patty.
Let's turn off the television for a while. Sometimes it saddens me to watch things in Washington these days.
What makes you sad, George?
I was surrounded by men of high character when I was president. I had Patrick Henry who said, "Give me liberty or give me death." Now it seems they say, "Give me some kickbacks or a raise in pay."
Those men were sterling. But could it be that today's leaders just haven't been tested yet? As for men of sterling character, George, I've heard it said that you could not tell a lie.
I've heard that myself, but I probably could have told one if I wanted to. The difference is I chose not to tell lies. I figured a man must live with his conscience. But more importantly, any man elected to the highest office in the greatest land on earth owes it to his people to tell them the truth.
You always did that, George. Just between us, it's true that you owned up to cutting down your father's cherry tree.
It's funny about that legend, Teddy. Actually, my mother was going to bake a cherry pie for my father, but I ate most of the cherries before she had a chance. My father found me with juice all over my face, so I had to admit it or be punished for telling a lie. The legend grew.
Well, it has inspired centuries of children to follow in your honest footsteps.
Lots of legends develop as stories, are told over and over. There's even a legend about me being the real king of Camelot. That started as a song in a musical comedy about a young king ruling a perfect kingdom.
Up here, we watch you make New Frontier speech. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. You are young and handsome, and the stuff legends are made of.
Maybe that is what saddens me. Too many elected people today are self-serving. They're asking what the country can do for them.
They can't fool the voters for long. If they're disappointed, they'll elect a better man or woman in the next election.
A leader's character shows. And George, yours certainly did. Your courage inspired me during the war between the states when both sides were suffering. I often thought of how you led your ragtag army with sheer courage. You stood against the King of England with little food or clothing.
The prize was worth it. I'd rather have died for democracy than live under the Union Jack.
You inspired me too, George. Just before we engaged the enemy at San Juan's Hill, I wondered what you would have done. My men were different from yours, a mix of cowboys and aristocrats, all of them volunteers.
Oh yes, that regiment of yours went down in history. They weren't called the Rough Riders for nothing. Those men could fight.
Every man was brave. Look around you. You'll see them here in heaven.
And my men are here too, Teddy.
And mine, all of mine, from both sides of the war.
Yes, we were presidents at different times, but we had one thing in common. We turned undisciplined men into first-rate armies.
And some of us got our face carved into Mount Rushmore.
That was before my time, so I missed out on that honor.
True, Jack, but you and I have a distinction, don't we? Millions of our countrymen loved us. but all it took was one man who hated us to change the course of history.
I often thought of you when I was in the White House, Abe, but I never dreamed that what happened to you could happen to me too. Down there, we couldn't see things as we can from up here.
That's true. Now tell me something, Jack. Did you ever try out the Lincoln bed?
I sure did. My first night on the job. Boy, was that mattress lumpy.
Leaving that mattress was my little joke. I needed some humor. The war was so awful. I felt so irresponsible.
Hey, the war was not your making. You took the reins of a runaway horse, so you don't need to feel personally responsible.
The job fell on your shoulders, Abe. When my brother Bobby and I were in Washington, we faced some of the same issues.
I wonder if a man rises to lofty ideals when he is placed in that grand office, or if he seeks the office because he believes in those ideals.
Perhaps it's both. When England threatened the formation of our democracy, I would have given my life to ensure its independence.
It humbles a man to lead this country. I was always aware that my decisions affected millions. Not everybody agreed with me. And that's why my motto was, speak softly and carry a big stick.
Responsibility takes its toll on a man. His mind is never free.
Most men elected to the office rise to its greatness. So George, don't be sad if one or two don't measure up. Look at the good people who have served and look ahead to do the good people who will.
As I have so often said, this is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I believe that anyone emerging from these people to lead them will share their high ideals and fine qualities. The unworthy will be weeded out and forgotten.
You're right, Abe. The country has set aside one day a year to honor those who have been chosen to lead it. True, we're a few of those men, but it's not us as men that they honor. It's the high office of that great land that we represent. There is no other like it.